A traditional survival garden has a fatal flaw. It is completely flat and it is entirely visible. In a grid-down collapse, a neatly organized row of raised beds is a massive target for desperate looters. It screams that you have food, and it takes up valuable land. The sovereign homesteader must think vertically. You must weaponize the fences, the dead trees, and the forgotten borders of your property. Nature has engineered specific, aggressive climbing plants that hide their calories high above the ground, camouflaged perfectly within the wild brush. Plant them once, and they will climb, conquer, and feed you for decades. Today, we are revealing the 7 unkillable survival vines that deliver massive stealth calories and secure your independence forever. This is the ultimate form of stealth gardening. These vines require almost zero ground space, they choke out competing weeds, and they hide their yields from anyone who doesn't know exactly what to look for. Plant once, harvest forever. Let's begin. First, the ultimate vertical calorie bomb, the chayote squash. Most preppers rely on ground-dwelling winter squashes that take up massive amounts of space. The chayote is an aggressive, unkillable perennial vine in mild climates that climbs ferociously over arbors, fences, and trees. A single, mature vine can produce over 100 heavy, calorie-dense squashes in a single season. Visually, the bright green fruit blends perfectly into the thick foliage, making it almost invisible to passing scavengers. Beyond the fruit, the entire plant is a survival bank. The young leaves are edible as high-vitamin greens, and in older plants, the massive underground root tuber can be dug up and boiled like a giant potato. It is a 3-in-1 food source that grows entirely in the air. Second, the century-long sugar vault, the wild grape. In a long-term survival scenario, sugar and quick energy will become the rarest commodities on Earth. While commercial orchards require constant spraying and pruning, native wild grapes are virtually indestructible. Once established, a grapevine can live and produce for over 50 years with zero human intervention. They climb high into the tree canopy, hiding their clusters of dark, energy-rich fruit far out of reach of ground pests. For the tactical homesteader, the wild grape provides multiple survival utilities. The fruit can be eaten raw, fermented into medicinal wine, or turned into strong vinegar for preserving other foods. Even the vines themselves are invaluable, acting as strong, natural cordage for building shelters and weaving heavy baskets for your survival camp. Third, the perennial protein climber, the scarlet runner bean. Beans are a crucial survival staple, but planting them in the dirt leaves them vulnerable to insects and rodents. The scarlet runner is a magnificent tactical asset. In many zones, it is a true perennial. The vines die back in the winter, but the thick, starchy root survives underground and violently explodes back to life in the spring. It grows incredibly fast, reaching 10 to 15 feet, and produces massive, meat-like beans packed with heavy protein. Because they grow so high, they completely avoid soil-borne diseases and ground-level pests. You plant the root once, and you secure a permanent vertical protein supply that outlives any store-bought seed packet. Fourth, the invasive survival starch, kudzu. In the modern world, this rapidly growing vine is hated and labeled as a devastating, invasive weed. But to the educated survivor facing starvation, kudzu is an infinite, unkillable food bank. It is called the vine that ate the South for a reason. It grows up to a foot a day, swallowing abandoned structures and dead forests. The tactical value lies beneath the soil. The massive tuberous roots can weigh hundreds of pounds and are filled with high-quality starch. By crushing and washing these massive roots, you can extract a pure white powder that acts perfectly as a thickener or a heavy flour substitute. It is a biological factory that you can harvest year-round, completely hidden from the untrained eye. Fifth, the cold hardy fruit factory, the hardy kiwi. Do not confuse this with the fuzzy fruit at the grocery store. The hardy kiwi is an unkillable, aggressive vine that can survive brutal, sub-zero winters. Once planted, it can live for decades, climbing over 50 feet into the air. It produces hundreds of small, smooth-skinned berries that are packed with more vitamin C than an orange. In the harsh reality of a long-term collapse, immune system collapse and scurvy are silent killers. The hardy kiwi acts as a permanent vertical medicine cabinet, providing vital micronutrients deep into the autumn. Because the fruit is green and small, it is perfectly camouflaged against the leaves, protecting your harvest from both birds and looters. Sixth, the off-grid nerve medicine, hops. We know it as the flavoring agent for beer, but the sovereign homesteader knows its true value. Hops is an incredibly vigorous perennial vine, often growing 20 feet in a single season. In a total collapse, psychological stress, anxiety, and insomnia will cripple your ability to function and defend your property. The green cones produced by the hops vine are a powerful natural nervine and sedative. Brewing them into a bitter tea provides critical relief for the nervous system. Furthermore, the cones contain potent antibacterial properties. When modern antibiotics run out, a poultice of boiled hops can be used to treat skin infections and preserve other food stores. It is a vertical pharmacy that never expires. And seventh, the native survival fruit, the maypop, or passionflower vine. This is a rugged, native perennial vine that thrives in poor, neglected soil. It spreads aggressively through underground runners, meaning if a looter cuts down the main vine, it will simply sprout 5 more nearby. It produces a massive yield of egg-sized fruit filled with sweet, calorie-dense pulp, but its tactical superiority matches the hops vine. The leaves and stems of the maypop contain powerful medicinal alkaloids. When dried and smoked or steeped in hot water, it acts as a severe pain reliever and muscle relaxant. When the grid falls, having a permanent, unkillable source of both calories and pain relief is the difference between life and death. Stop wasting your energy on flat, vulnerable gardens. The earth provides heavy, sustaining energy to those who know how to grow upwards. Weaponize your perimeter. Once you master the survival vines, you secure your family's future, hidden in plain sight. Which of these vertical crops will you deploy first? Let me know in the comments below. We are the Soil Guardian. Subscribe for infinite sovereignty. Plant once and stay in the light.